Yes.
That is the beauty of this whole loosely coupled evented system, is that there are all kinds of tough problems that you can't solve until you get out of the mindset of thinking of things in a request-response tightly coupled paradigm.
Right. Phil, this is foundational to what will eventually, I believe, become the success of a PDS.
Yes, absolutely.
It is not rigid schema on shared data.
No, it's not.
They're building the wrong freaking thing, Phil.
We have...
They're digging in the wrong place.
We have the answer to how PDSs should work, yes.
And the S is not it's not storage, it's service.
Yes. Yeah, who cares how it's stored?
You don't care.
I don't care how
you
it's
just
stored.
pick your service. Holy crap!
Can you, for posterity, recount the epiphany we just had?
I'm not sure I can. At least with the same level of
Not with the same level of
excitement. So the big thing here is that there's this problem when you need to loosely couple applications, that if one application requires a type of another application, that app needs some way of finding or prompting the user to connect it into some other application. The advantage that we have by restricting communication to events instead of commands, or remote invocation calls, method invocations, is that you can declare an interface document, and this might simply be like a JSON doc at a URL or something, some way of specifying, here's the interface I need, and then I can say, I need a service that implements that interface. And services that implement that event interface, it's not a method interface, it's an event interface, can also say, I will handle the events described in that interface doc, which means that now a system like Kinetics that needs to prompt the user saying, hey, you've installed this app that needs an app of this other type, it can list me the 5 apps that actually provide that type so that I can choose one, or will simply know that I don't need to because I already have an app that implements that same interface. It's also very powerful because a single service can implement simultaneously multiple event interfaces with event domains and types, and that's okay. So I might have a service that does both calendaring and to-do list, and that's just fine in one service. It also allows for one to-do list application to implement multiple to-do list interfaces, which allows the natural evolution of the right event schema, the right evented interface, because you can implement many of them and then have that all happen within the same service without really much pain at all. By writing things in your rules like select when foo or bar, foo being from one event interface and bar being from the other one, but the same types of things that you want to handle by the same rule. So having evented interfaces could be a huge way forward in solving the matchup service problem that is what prompted SOAP to become so ugly in the first place, and which REST hasn't attempted to solve yet.
Right.
Is that good?
That's good.
Was that?
Yeah, REST has not attempted to solve it yet. As a matter of fact, they're still arguing about whether they need description languages for the syntactic aspects of the interface.
Right. We might solve that argument by making it irrelevant. What you really need is a way to communicate via events, not remote method invocations. You're communicating via events, and by constraining the communication protocol, for example, to an event domain, event name, and a series of a set of contextual data around that, we passes like event arguments, we can allow services to communicate in powerful ways without getting into the problems you have with remote method invocation.
Yeah, so understanding those interfaces, which is what I mean when I say semantics, but it's an unambiguous or something which dispels the ambiguity regarding the interface and what the user meant, or what words the developer used to describe what everybody more or less means when they say, I need a to-do list application. I mean, there's a to-do list application is kind of a to-do list application. You might have a few different features or whatever, but ultimately they kind of do the same thing. They have to.
Right.
That's what makes them. When we say it's a to-do list application, we have in our heads a common understanding of the kinds of things it has to do. If it did something completely different, we wouldn't call it a to-do list application. We'd call it a mail program.
Right.
Right? And so the problem is matching up the words a developer chooses to use when describing or creating an interface with the concepts that we all share around what to-do list applications are. So semantics is not this big kind of pie in the sky, create artificial intelligence so that robots understand us. It's very simply much more easily done problem, even though it's taken thousands of researchers, dozen years to even get as far as we are. It's at least a tractable problem of saying, how do I describe an interface so it is unambiguous?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need in order to create systems that you just plug random to-do lists into and they work.
Right.
So